Okay, I think it's recording. So here we are to talk about the Zodiac spread. And this is one of my favorite spreads. And I think it's because I am an astrology aficionado, I would say. And I'm also loving tarot. So this combines two of my passions because this spread uses the house system that astrology uses and combines it with tarot. So instead of having planets in the houses, we will have cards in the houses, but we use the same structure. And we can use a little bit of the same ideas that we use in astrology with this spread. Also, this spread is very good when we are trying to look for information about many different topics, because it gives us a whole picture of what's going on with the person's lives. And then we can see what area we have to focus on. So it's easy to use this spread if you have time, because it does take time as it has 13 cards to go over. So you may need like 30 minutes minimum to do this spread. But if you have the time, it is a great spread to see like, okay, what's going on in each area, and then really target like how to continue the questions to get more answers about areas in the life of the person that are complicated or they are challenging. So definitely like, this is one of my favorite spreads when we are looking for a lot of information, when we are looking for maybe like a year reading. Like many people do readings for their birthdays. They do readings for like once a year, once every 6 months. Again, this is one of those spreads that you can use for that. So having introduced the Zodiac spread, here's how it looks like. And again, we see that we have it in houses because astrology is based on a house system. So we always start on the left side and then we go counterclockwise. So that's why you see the first card, the second card, the third card, fourth, and so on and so forth. And definitely like the final, the 13th card goes in the center as the outcome. So when we start looking at the structure, again, if you're not familiar with astrology, don't worry about it. You can definitely look at the instructions and see what it means and get an idea. But the first house or the first card is ruled by Aries. And this is all about our personality and our physical body, our physical incarnation. So we see in this area all the topics that are related to the way that the person is like physically and how they are personally, what's going on with them. So anything that comes out in this house will show us that. And definitely, again, it's associated with the sign of Aries and the new beginnings and the initiation, and that's why it's the first house. Then we move to the second house, which will be the second card for you. And this is ruled by Taurus. And if you know anything about Taurus, Taurus is really about possessions and material things. I'm not saying Taurus is materialistic, but they enjoy beautiful things. They enjoy material things because they can touch it and they can feel it. And Taurus or earth signs need that contact, need that real grounded energy. So definitely like in here we see everything that's related to values, to possessions and money and material things. But also I always associate this house with self-worth, because I feel like whatever you manifest in this reality is what you allow yourself to have and you feel like you are able to have. And that is sort of like what Nancy Levin has a book called Worthy, and she talks about your net worth being similar to your self-worth. So if you don't have very good self-esteem or self-worth, then you don't allow yourself to be very prosperous and abundant. So we can see some of those issues in this second house. When we look at the third house, this is the house of Gemini, and it is all about communication and the way we think, like our thinking pattern. So definitely, like if you are thinking about like, okay, Is this person stubborn? Is this person having issues with the way they are thinking? You will see those situations in this position. You may see that the person needs to recode the way they think or the way they communicate. You may see that the person has issues with their communication style, and maybe people are not understanding them. You can see also whether the person is very good at public speaking, and that would be an area that is strong for them. So definitely anything that's connected with communication and thinking, and communication could be verbally or written communication as well. So you can see all that in the third house. When we go to the fourth house, this is the house ruled by Cancer, and Cancer is all about family or family orientation. So here is where you see your home, and home could be not only your physical house, but it could also entail situations with family members. With close family members, I wouldn't say relatives here, but I would say like if there's something going on with your mother or your father or someone like in the close circle of the family, you could see that in this area coming up as like a challenging card in this position. You could also see like maybe you need to move, and it will come here, like you get a card that shows you are in transition, you need to change your location. So you could see that in this area. When we move to the fifth card or the fifth house, which is ruled by Leo, Leo is all about art. And so definitely here, even though in the picture we have love life, I always associate this house with creativity and with children, okay? And because children are our creation, so definitely there is that connection there, but it's definitely about creativity and art. So in here we will see if the person is maybe sacrificing their creativity, maybe for their career or their work. Maybe they are using their creativity. Maybe they are extremely creative and they should use that to support their work and their career. So we can see how creativity pans out in the person's life at this moment. As we move to the sixth house, this is the house of Virgo. And Virgo is all about attention to detail. And also, it is about nutrition and healthiness and all healthy patterns. So definitely here you can see a little bit of like the work life as it says on the screen, but work life more in the 8 to 5 type of position instead of like really career and vocation. Some people are definitely able to manage having their 8 to 5 being their career and vocation, but some people have that discrepancy, right? Where you have the job that pays the bills, but then you have your passion and your vocation and your calling, and maybe you try to bridge the two. And that's where we can see here in the sixth house, we will see the work. And in the 10th house, we will see more of like the career and calling. So we have to marry the two or try to harmonize the two in order to be successful. When we look at the 7th house or the 7th card, it's the house ruled by Libra, and Libra is all about relationships. So here is where we see like the one-on-one relationship, where we see our partner, our significant other, but also sometimes we can definitely see some strong friendships that are one-on-one, that best friend that is with you. It's just like those types of connections. It's not the group, it's not the community, because we do see that community and that energy, that social life on the 11th house. So here is more like the intimate relationship. When we move to the 8th house, here is where we see all the big changes. This is a house ruled by Scorpio, and Scorpio brings deep transformation, sort of like the death and taxes type of house. So definitely it's an area where we will see what needs to be transformed. Whatever card comes there gives us an idea of like what areas need to change, where we have things that have come to an end, things that need to be changed right now. So definitely like it's a good position to look at what comes up. And then we have the 9th house, or the 9th card, ruled by Sagittarius. And here it says learning. I would say higher learning, but it's more the house of philosophy, of religion, of spirituality. So here we definitely see where the person belief system is and what ideas they are having, and maybe sometimes we can see whether they are transitioning from one set of beliefs into a different one, or maybe there are some limiting beliefs there that need to be updated so the person can be more successful. So there are things that will come up in this position that will give us some information. Then we move to the 10th house, or the 10th card. And as I was mentioning before when we were talking about the 6th house, or the 6th card, here it is where we see vocation. Here is where we see career, where we see the calling, and where we see the different things that can be happening when we are more ingrained with our soul purpose or our mission. So definitely this is an area that will show us whether the person is really balanced with the work, like that pays the bills, and the career, or not. And then it's like, how do we harmonize them? How do we move from the one that pays the bills but maybe kills the spirit to the one that definitely like helps us feel like we are doing what we are meant to be doing in this lifetime? So definitely that's where we see that connection. Moving to the 11th house, or the 11th card, this is ruled by Aquarius. And as I was saying, the 7th house, or the 7th card, is about one-on-one relationships. The 11th card, or the 11th house, is all about the group of people, the groups that, like community, even social, like when we are younger, where we have the group of people that we hang together. Definitely this is one of those areas, but really shows like community groups, maybe the church community, or the area where we really connect as a social life area. So here is where we can see whether the person has the right group of people around them, or they need more support, or they need change, or they are perfect and this is not an area they need to worry about. So definitely like it's another area to pay attention to. And finally we get to the 12th house, or the 12th card, and here is a house ruled by Pisces. And Pisces is all about mystical life, but I would say this is the house of the unconscious. So this is the things that we don't see. We feel them, we may project them on others, or we are just not ready to really integrate them. So here is where we definitely see what areas are coming to this person, but they are not ready for them yet. So we have to prepare them. So this is what's coming, or this is what it's sort of like ticking, but it's not here yet. So it's in this unconscious, or 12th house. And finally we have the outcome in the center, which some people say it's the outcome, some people say is the way that we can handle putting all the chart together. But I do like the outcome, or at least it gives us an idea of like, okay, overall this is the energy that's going to be ruling me for the next X amount of time. I would suggest to do this type of spread maybe once every 3 or 6 months, or even once a year. I don't suggest this spread being done definitely like every week or every month, because it's just very involved, and all the energies that we have compiled in this spread, you need to experience them and give them time to really show up. So like I was saying, when we look at this spread, we see a lot of different areas in the person's life, And the areas where we will see a challenging card, or we will see something that needs to be paid attention to, then we can explore that area with a different spread, maybe a 3-card spread, or pull a couple more cards for that particular house to see, like, how can I deal with this challenging energy? How can I deal with this specific situation about, let's say, my house 4, like with the home, with my family? Or how can I deal with my possessions and my money? Maybe something has come up and you're having some money shortage, and the card comes up there as maybe 5 of Pentacles and the misery card. So how can you deal with that? So then you can pull cards for each specific position, each specific location. So having said that, I will show you how we put it all together with an example spread. And I'm sorry it looks like very awkward on the screen, because I was trying to format this picture, and as most of you know, I'm not very technology savvy, so this is what I can do with what I have. But at least you get to see a little bit of the cards. And as I usually use the Rider Waite for my readings and for my classes, so here we have a couple of things. So as you can see, it is structured like we saw in the structure for the spread. And again, we start on the left side and we go counterclockwise. So we start with the sun, okay? The sun in house 1 makes me feel that physically this person is okay. Like they are really having a lot of energy, they are happy, they are enjoying life, they have vitality. Maybe they have gone through some issues and now they are really shining. So there is a sense of like happiness and shining. So definitely, like, this is not an area that I would tell this person, okay, let's explore more about this area. Let's see what else we can come up with. Because honestly, it's not really an area of concern. And as we look at, as you can see, I pulled from the whole deck. So we do have some like major arcana and some minor arcana. And to repeat what we have said in previous classes, when we have major arcana, there are some life lessons taking place. There's some karmic information coming up in the reading. So definitely, it's an area where we just definitely like can see, okay, even though it's a great card, it seems like this person has been battling with body situations or with their appearance or with their health or with the way they present themselves to the world, and they have come through. So now they are at the other end of the tunnel sort of way. So we don't have to worry about that. But having some major arcana in this spread does tell us this person is going through major changes too. And it's a part in their lives where they have to really be dealing with their life lessons. So now we move to the second house, or the second card, which is the Nine of Swords. And the Nine of Swords in the house of values, in the house of property or possessions, tells me that the person is really worrying about money. There are some things that are coming up for this person that are hard, that they are keeping them up at night. Maybe they are concerned they don't have enough to pay the bills, or something broke down in their house and they have to pay for it, or something has come up. But this is an area that we could use some time to explore more if we wanted to. But usually when people see this card, they do associate, like, yeah, I'm stressing, or I'm having to deal with this situation. So I see that card and I really associate it with something that's happening. So as we move to the third house, which is the house of communication and thinking and thought patterns, Here we have the Four of Wands. So this is a very positive card. There is a celebration. I would say that this person is really like a happy-go-lucky person. Their communication is uplifting, and they always like cheer people up. I feel like that's the energy of this card. So again, this is not an area where I would get concerned about it. So definitely, you know, you would say, yeah, that's a good, nothing to worry about in this area. As we move to the fourth house, this is the house of home, family. Having the Queen of Pentacles, it would depend on the querent. It would depend on the person that we are reading for. If we are reading for a woman, maybe this is a manifestation of her, like being the queen in the house, being the solid foundation, the person that brings, you know, the material, the sustenance, you know, the grounded foundation, like I was saying. If this person is too young and maybe they live with their parents or something, maybe this is a mother figure for this person. So we have to start playing around with who we are reading for and what's coming up and what we are seeing in the other areas, right? But it will depend. It could be like a mother figure, or it could be the person just, you know, being solid, being grounded, being, you know, the ruler of the home. So definitely, like, it's, again, another area where it seems to be okay. Things seem to be fine there. As we move to the fifth house, which is the house of creativity, here again, we do have a major arcana, and we have the Temperance card. What is telling us that in order to find harmony, in order to find stability, the person needs to do some creative venture, whether it is to paint, to take pictures, to cook, anything, but the person will find that that harmony, that balance, if they really explore some of their creative side. Maybe it's dancing, maybe it's singing, maybe it's just playing an instrument. But there's something that needs to happen in order to bring that harmony and balance. And maybe that harmony and balance helps to alleviate some of the other areas that are compressed or they are challenging. So definitely that is one area that is good, but it gives us a key of like how to resolve some other areas that are taxed or that they are not feeling as good. As we move to the sixth house, here's where we see the Six of Swords. And as we talked before, this is definitely the house where we are seeing the 8 to 5 work, okay? The everyday work, the one that pays the bills. It seems that this person is about to leave that work. They have an idea of leaving it, and the process has already started. They are thinking about it. The swords are all about the intellect. They are about what we are starting to contemplate and our visions. So definitely, like, I feel like this person is already visually seeing themselves leaving this position. This place is not a happy place. And if we were to talk about, like I was saying, you know, career and 8 to 5 or the everyday work, we can see in career there's also a 3 of Swords there, what brings pain and suffering where it comes to the career. So if I were to say this person definitely, it's living the 8 to 5 because they are sad they cannot really live their full career or their full purpose. So they are trying to figure out, okay, I've been sacrificing my purpose to be in this job, but this job is not working, so maybe I'm going to move away from it. So definitely that's something that we can contemplate with these cards. When we move to the seventh house, I would dare to say that if this person has a partner, they are feeling quite lonely, and it's a period of really finding themselves, and that their individuality can help them to find the right person. But I would dare to say that this person is not with anybody, and maybe they have, again, they have broken up with someone, or there is no relationship, and it is a hermit time. It's a time for really rediscovering what they are all about and what they want in a relationship. So definitely a period of solitude. As we move to the 8th house, which is the house of transformation, here we see the Queen of Swords. And the Queen of Swords is telling me that this person needs to transform their way of thinking, that this person really needs to get a hold of their mind and sort of like manage it or control it. Needs to be the ruler of the mind. I think the mind is playing with this person a little bit, and we can see some of the impact in the opposing house with the 9 of Swords in the values position. I feel like this person doesn't have really a lot of monetary issues or a lot of like value issues, but their mind is playing tricks to them. So they need to start learning how to balance that discrepancy, how to get a hold of the monkey that jumps on the back and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to trust that I manifest whatever I want and I can make it happen. So definitely that's the change that's being asked in this spread right now. And as we move to the 9th house, which is spirituality and religion, here we see the 2 of Pentacles. And the 2 of Pentacles, it's a card about playfulness and taking it easy, being light, being flexible, being movable, being changeable. So this is also telling me that this person may have been too structured and now they need to be a little more movable, a little more flexible here. Some of the things that they are believing in are not helping them anymore, and that really supports the idea of the Queen of Swords managing the mind, like cleaning up the house and removing all the dead weeds that are there in the mind and that are just blocking the progress. So definitely it's an area where we have to use humor a little more and believe that things can work out for our own benefit. Definitely it's not an area that I would be concerned. It's just an area that I would say to the person, just loosen up a little bit, like relax, things will be okay for you. When we move to the 10th house, as I was mentioning when we were talking about the 6th, here is career, vocation, you know, the calling. And here having the 3 of Swords is a very painful card to even look at it. And I feel like this person feels that they have been sacrificing their calling for something different, whether it has been a relationship. And again, it could have been like the story is to say that this person sacrificed everything for their relationship, but the relationship left. So now they are left alone as the hermit without a career and with the pain of like, wow, if I had just taken care of that instead of putting all my eggs in one basket, and now I'm left with nothing. So definitely there is a story to be told there. But I feel like that area is an area that we could explore more. We could see how we can deal with this pain, this suffering that we are feeling, and how we can bring it more into a happy space or a more planned space of like, okay, now you have some steps to make sure that you are on the right track for your calling, that you don't feel like you have sacrificed it or that you betrayed yourself without doing your calling. So definitely like it's an area of exploration. As we move to the 11th house, this is the house of community, of social life. And here we do see the King of Cups. So the story keeps shifting for this person because it feels like this person is going to find the new love or the real love when they are in community. So in one of their groups of people, this King of Cups is there. So definitely like, I feel like they are almost out of the hermit area and there is the light at the end of the tunnel. There is a new partner. There is a new person. And I feel like this new partner is really the soulmate, is really the one that will balance them out. And I feel for the other cards that this person really has been doing their work so they can find the right partner. So they are ready for the right relationship. As we end with the 12th house and the unconscious, again, here's the things that we don't see. And this also plays a good part in saying that, again, there are some things in the unconscious that are keeping this person tied up, that they are keeping them trapped. So the key is to go back to that 8th house with the Queen of Swords and remove all these blocks, remove all these tightness, remove all these limitations that this person is having. Unfortunately, I don't feel like this person is really aware of all of them, but I feel like this person is having an opportunity to work on them. Because as the center or the outcome, we do see the 7 of Wands being the card that is all about, sorting the obstacles and moving and pushing through. So I feel like the obstacles and the limitations are coming face to face with this person, and she or he is seeing what's happening to them so they can work on them. So it's time to really rule the unconscious, look at the root cause, maybe do some hypnosis, maybe do some therapy in order to, sort of like unravel what's there, what are the limitations and where they are coming from, what belief system we are holding that is not compatible with who we are, but we still keep it there and it's running on the back burner. So definitely like it's an area where we should explore a little more where they are coming from. Maybe they are, mandates from the family, maybe they are mandates from society, maybe they are things that the person, like, I don't know, they got burned younger and now they see, the fire and they cry because they got burned before. So definitely we have to see how to work on those areas. But if we were to expand in this and we had this person, I would definitely expand on the house 2 where we have the 9 of Swords. I would expand on 10 about career and how to bring it back to balance. And I would expand on the 12th house to see where are these limitations coming from. So I can provide this person a little more guidance into like what's going to happen and how they can deal and get out of the funk. But overall, I feel like this person, even though they are going through the obstacles, they are able to come out successful because, again, we do have a Sun on the 1st house. We do have the Temperance. We have the Hermit, but the Hermit is balanced by the King of Cups there as well. So I don't feel like the Hermit has a lot of power. It's more about self-knowledge and finding your own light. But the other cards that are major arcana are definitely connected with light and coming through and really like being successful. So definitely like I don't feel like this person is having a lot of issues. I feel like this person is just almost there in order for the next breakthrough. So any questions, anything that comes up? And I'm unmuted you, Nancy.
Okay. Well, one thing, was this a real reading? Or
no.
I just wondered.
Yeah, no, it's not. I just pulled the cards. So.
Okay. Yeah, I think it was a good description of all the cards, and I think of what's happening with this person.
Would you agree with what I said about and what's happening?
I think at first I was thinking they were leaving their job, as you mentioned, and that there were money worries. But then I saw the Hermit, and and the heart at the sword, 3 of Swords at the top, and thinking about maybe what you said, the combination of maybe leaving both the relationship and the job, and
and the sacrifices.
Yes. So, but there's a lot of good cards in there too, as you say, and a lot of transformational cards. So
Yeah.
It's a good, even though there's some sadness and pain, there's a lot of hope and feeling that the person is on the right track or struggling through, as in the wands. What is it? The Seven of Wands in the middle there.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, they are struggling, but it's getting to a happy conclusion, maybe, if they are able to figure out and maybe change also the way of thinking. And the way of thinking, if we keep expanding, would be, maybe this is one of those people that sacrifices everything for others, for the relationship or for the work, and doesn't think about themselves. So then you do have some issues on the second house with the self-worth, you know, and putting themselves first. And also all the patterns that, okay, now I have to start thinking in a different way if I want to be successful. I cannot keep going the same way that I've been thinking. So that's why we see that a Queen of Swords there as the transformation key. Like, okay, what do you need to transform? You need to transform the way you think. And then everything starts flowing. But yeah, definitely. So yeah, it's definitely one of those spreads that gives a lot of information, and you can keep working. And like I said, you could even expand on the areas that are of conflict to give more clarity, because sometimes one card doesn't say enough, but at least it tells us, okay, there is, you know, a red flag in this area of your life, and should you choose to work on it, these are the areas, or these are the next keys that you can work on.
Yes, I think it's a good spread too. I was just thinking I should do one with Janet, you know, together.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, you could write it down on a journal, and then see, you know, after 6 months, well, what happened, what came up, what did change, or, you know, then retrospective, you can see where the areas were definitely and what happened. So that's another thing that you can do. Some people do this one as, you know, the 1st of January spread for the year. Some people do it for their birthday. I feel like anytime that a person comes and they do have the time for a longer spread, if they want a general reading, this is the reading that I would do, because it gives me a lot of information on all the different areas, and then we can expand, but it really gives them a very good outlook of like what's going on for a general reading.
And it seems a little longer term than the regular, like the Celtic Cross spread and some of the others, which you always say is about, you know, maybe 6 weeks to 3 months, something like that. And this one, it seems like you could use it for a year.
Yeah, I feel that way too. I feel like this is not one that I would repeat very often with clients, as I would do. Like Celtic Cross is something that, again, if the person comes with specific questions, then we can see a lot more information than in a 3-card spread. But definitely I would use a Celtic Cross or some variation of that.
Yes.
But for general readings, I would use this because it gives me a lot of information. So yeah. So any other questions?
No, I think that's it. Thank you.
Good. You're welcome. And again, next month we are going to look at love spreads. It's not October. Well, yes, it's October. It's going to be at the end of October. So almost like the week of the 25th or so. We will have the next one. And then in November, at the end of November, again, we'll have how to create your own spread and the things you can look into. And then we'll see what happens December and the rest of next year. But so far, those are the ones that I have. So I hope to see you in those, Nancy.
Okay.
Everyone. And thank you for being here today. I appreciate you coming in, and I hope you enjoy it. And I'll see you next month.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.